Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is part 2 on how French sauces basic mini-series, and the last time we talked about the mother sauces, briefly, the classification of sauces in the old days as per the Guide culinaire from Escoffier, plus the modern classification telling us that there is now 3 main categories: brown sauces, white sauces, and emulsified sauces. In this episode, we're going to look at each category a little bit further and try to identify what are the sauces that are actually relevant for home cooking. Okay, so we're going to cover the brown sauce, the white sauce, and we're going to finish off with the emulsified sauces with an explanation plus a demonstration on how to make a foolproof Hollandaise sauce. This is a slightly modified version of my making, and if you are someone that has been struggling with Hollandaise, these days are over because this is the ultimate easy recipe. Let's get started. So on our last video, we had the technical stuff, right? We looked at the categories, the modern categories. We've got the white sauce, we've got the brown sauce, we've got the emulsified sauce. We know the white sauces are based on either a Béchamel or a Velouté, and we also know that there are derivatives that can be made with these. That means sauce that you use the core as a Velouté or Béchamel, and with an addition of ingredients, you can create all kinds of sauces, and that can get very complicated. So what I want to kind of do here is take the same classification and make it much easier to understand in a kind of a home cooking jargon. When it comes to these other sauces, all what you need to keep in mind as a home cook is that virtually what these sauces are, when you think about the Mornay sauce, okay, the one you use is flavored with cheese, and this cheesy sauce. The soubise, that is beautiful kind of Béchamel with onion flavor. The flavoring is the important word. All what it is, the derivative of a Béchamel is a Béchamel flavored with something else. See it like this at home. You don't have to break, oh my God, there's all these sauces, these names and stuff. You don't care about that. The base is a Béchamel. If I'm adding onions, I've got a soubise. If I'm adding spinach, I've got a green sauce. If I'm adding tomato, I've got a sauce oral. If I'm adding, whatever chili, I would have a chili sauce. If I had a herb, I've got a herb sauce. If I had a curry, I can have a curry sauce based on the Béchamel. It is still a white sauce, still based on that. And for the Velouté, it's the same thing. It's a base Velouté in which you throw stuff in there. I want mushrooms. Hey, mushroom Velouté. I want herbs. Hey, herb Velouté. I want capers. Oh, capers in there with a caper Velouté. It's super simple. Okay? So when it comes to home, I'll show a little card on the screen after to say exactly which are the sauces that I think are really, really important. When it comes to the brown sauces, and we've seen the category, there's all these sauces that are based on a brown stock. It can be any stock, so the beef stock, the brown chicken stock, the lamb stock, and so on and so forth, plus the seafood, the tomato. It all gets very, very complicated. But there is another category that exists in the brown sauces, and these are the pan sauces. Brown sauces by default in a restaurant are inherently hard to make because they have to be made as a standalone sauce. That means you start in a pan, you use a stock of a specific kind, you have to reduce it, you have to know the sauce and then craft your sauce. That, in my view, is not something simple for home. I'll come back to this. So I would not bother too much with this standalone sauce, except some that I'll talk about after. What you should concentrate on when you think brown sauces for home cooking, it's the pan sauces. Pan sauces is a type of process. I've got a whole video about this. I'll share this again in the video description. When you sear a piece of meat, you use the caramelized juices, and then you make all kind of sauce. It can be a creamy sauce, a brown sauce, a red wine sauce, a white wine sauce, etc., etc. Okay? The rest of the stuff is good to know for the classification, but to be honest, at home, you're not going to use much of that. Let's move on. Emulsified sauces. Ooh, that's the scary one. So emulsified sauces, the term emulsifying is actually very simple. You see this? It's a whisk. That is the tool that allows you to emulsify something. Emulsifying, basically, at a very basic level, in home cooking, is you taking a bunch of ingredients that usually don't mix together, like water and oil, and you're gonna beat the heck out of the thing, tack, 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 like this, all the bubbles forms, and you get some kind of compound. You've emulsified these ingredients, and suddenly they create something. When you make a mayonnaise or a dressing, you've got your vinegar, you got your oil. When you beat together, it becomes a dressing. You've emulsified the sauce. So all these sauces, just as you see, typically they are sauces that start with different components like egg yolks, a bit of water, some vinegar reduction, whatever, that you're gonna emulsify over the heat. They're gonna transform, they're gonna thicken, and then you're gonna create all kinds of sauces like the beurre blanc, like the Hollandaise that I've talked about, okay? But now let me share a little slide on the screen to tell you exactly what I think personally are the most useful sauces in each category you should concentrate on at home. Let's go. And here we are. French sauces, my essential guide for home cooking. These are the list of sauces that I really recommend you try as a home cook when you begin, or even if you're a little bit more advanced. These are the sauces that I've kind of started myself with, and I find them very useful. Why is this list quite useful? First off, because they are all sauces that you can make realistically in a home kitchen. Very important. There are also sauces that goes from anywhere from very simple to a bit more challenging. So there's a bit for everyone in here. And there is also a video link to almost each of these attached in the video description. So I'm not just giving you text, I'm giving you the list plus the video demonstration that goes with it. So refer to the video description. For the white sauce, my recommendation, start with the Béchamel and all the derivatives that you can do. Keep it simple. I've got a video on that, as I said. After that, you can tackle the chicken and fish velouté. Why chicken and fish? Because both of these stocks, the fish stock and the chicken stock, are not difficult to make and they're not very time consuming. So it's very good. The sauce vin blanc is a hybrid. Not officially in the list of white sauces, but this is one of the most loved sauce in French cooking that is used with fish, almost as a pan sauce, where we use the cooking juices from poaching a fish with stock and wine, reduced with cream. It's just beautiful, and it is also taught a lot in culinary school, so watch the video on that one. It's a brilliant sauce. Brown sauces, before you tackle brown sauces, learn to make a good brown stock, and then a jus. So jus sometimes is called demi-glace. It's a reduced stock basically with some additional flavoring. This is where it starts. Master this first, then move on to pan sauces. Practice, 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 practice with the pan sauce. If you want to go further, for the people that are more advanced, try the Bordelaise. The Madeira of the port sauce is a demi-glace flavor with Madeira wine or red port wine. And the sauce chasseur is this classic sauce from the hunter's chicken, where we have the demi-glace with mushroom, with some tomato, with tarragon, with cognac, a bit of wine. It's delicious and it works beautifully with chicken. For the emulsified sauces, the classics, nothing new, beurre blanc, the Hollandaise, that's what we're going to see in the demo, the Béarnaise, and the mayonnaise, which is an emulsified cold sauces. But that's it for the list. And now let's talk about something that not many people talk about, which is sauce pairing. Now this is the request of someone on the comment last week who told me, I like to make sauces, but I never know what to serve the sauce with. So I thought, let's make a little rough pairing guide. So let's start. White sauces. As a category, when you think white sauces, in a school they'll tell you if it's a white sauce, you have to serve it with something white. What does it mean? So typically, you serve any white sauce based on a velouté or béchamel with white meats that includes chicken, typically poached chicken, either veal or pork. These are white meats. And they can't be seared, it has to be cooked in a broth or something like this when you use it. All right, beef is red, it's not a white meat. Fish, any white fish, even salmon can be used with white sauces. Eggs, it is mainly boiled eggs, to make, for instance, an egg gratin, might exist, covered with béchamel, with mornay sauce, or vegetables. So vegetables, vegetable cauliflower gratin with the béchamel is a vegetable, it goes very well. If you make a moussaka, for instance, it's a kind of a bolognese sauce or meat-based sauce with tomato, but there's aubergine and there's a layer of béchamel. So again, vegetables can go very well. For the brown sauce, very, very simple. All what you need to look at is the type of meat that is used for your stock. So I've got the examples below. So let's take the Bordelaise, for instance. The Bordelaise sauce, you make it standalone. It's made with a beef stock. What do you serve it with? Beef. If you make something that uses a chicken stock, what do you serve it with? Chicken. If it's based on a game stock or venison, what do you serve it with? Game. If it's lamb, it's based with, with lamb, you serve it with lamb. It's very, very simple. There's no specific thing. You look at the stock you're using, that's going to tell you what you can pair it with. The emulsified sauces, also very simple. Typically, the majority is served with poached fish, poached eggs, or asparagus, which is the green or the white ones. The one exception you see there is the Béarnaise, is really the one only exception that can be served with grilled meat or fish. And that's about it. So you can keep these two slides. I've added them in the recipe card. You can download them, put them on the fridge or as a safekeeping. It's always good to know, and when you forget these things, it can be quite handy. But now, enough talk, enough theory. It is time to heat the stove and make that so-called foolproof Hollandaise that I've been talking about. Now let's face it, knowing how to make a Hollandaise sauce from scratch is a great skill to have, unless you're a professional or a home cook. Only thing, there's some slight technicalities. You need to emulsify, the egg yolk with the water first, clarify the butter, then use only the milk fat, then incorporate slowly in the hope it's not going to split, and then season. For a lot of people at home, I'm talking about home cooking, that's a big ask. But what if I was to tell you that there is an easier way? And it's true, I'm not lying, there is. We're going to learn to make the Hollandaise sauce in a home cooking style, no fuss version, by replacing the water with cream. The cream is a technique used by Paul Bocuse when he makes his beurre blanc. I've got a video on this, and that makes the sauce easier to make, and it also makes it more stable, and it removes the necessity to have clarified butter. So in that, what we have here, what I'm going to show you, is a one-pot Hollandaise. We're going to mix the cream with the egg yolk, whip a little bit over the heat on the double boiler, add the butter in here in cubes, cold butter, and wait until the whole thing starts to thicken a little bit to a semi-thick consistency of a sauce. Add the seasoning, and we're done. With this technique, you're going to be able to wake up on a Sunday with your family, dress up some toast, put some salmon, some bacon, poached eggs on top, make your sauce from scratch, and enjoy it. No need to go out anymore. Okay, you ready? Let's go. Now this has to be the easiest method of making a Hollandaise. We can't escape the double boiler, so if you have a proper one, use that. This is a makeshift one, so a pan, a little bit of simmering water, and I've got my glass bowl on here. You can use a metal bowl, but glass is better. And then a whisk. And we're going to start here the same as typically we have water and then an egg yolk, but here we've got cream and the egg yolk, okay? And we're going to spend a minute or something, or two max, to start to emulsify. So emulsification, emulsion is always the same, huh? As I said. You whisk, you incorporate some air, and we're going to start to thicken a little bit that cream, okay? So I'll tell you exactly how long it takes. Typically it's 1 or 2 minutes, or something like that. Huh? Now, after 2 minutes, you may see that the side of the bowl is going to start to dry, and this is the time, basically 2 minutes, where you're going to start to incorporate these cubes of cold butter. So this is the butter that is typically clarified, but here what we're going to do is keep on whisking. Oops, there's one that escaped there. And keep on incorporating this butter, a bit like a beurre blanc, very slowly. And as we whisk and we cook, things going to melt, and after it's going to thicken. Okay, so we wait for the little cubes to kind of dissolve in there, so you can see there. Don't go too fast, otherwise you're going to put everything everywhere. But this is going to be it. Okay, we keep the heat, we keep stirring, and it's a bit of a one-pot thing. So all in all, typically it's like it can take about 4 minutes or something. So a bit of elbow grease to use on here, but pretty much that's about it. So you see the consistency that starts to change. Can you see now it's a little bit kind of thicker on the side? You see how it thickens? This is the making of it. Okay, so I'm almost done with the butter in here. And the key, I'm keeping you on the camera, for that base is to wait for the sauce to be kind of semi-thick, but you don't want to go too far, because when you serve it at the end of the day, it's kind of liquid. You don't want it too thick like a Béarnaise. Typically it says, yeah, you have to be really, really kind of thick, but I like to keep it a little bit liquid. It's much easier for the pouring. All right, and that's about it. Pretty much, all what I need to do here is to wait another minute, and then we're done. And then we're going to add some seasoning. All right, so what is the trick? There's about 4.5 minutes of whisking, then you turn the heat off, because you don't want the temperature to go too hot. And when it cools down, you keep on whisking, and the liquid in there, the water contained in the cream and stuff in the butter starts to evaporate, and look what you get. Everything cools down a little bit, and I've got the consistency of a beautiful Hollandaise. All what we're left to do here is to add the seasoning. That's it. See how easy it is? So when we're done, now look at the consistency of the sauce. I'm off the stove, and all what I need to do is add my seasoning. So I'm gonna add a little bit of white pepper in there, okay? A bit of salt, I want a bit of salt, and a little bit of cayenne. And if you want a bit of heat, mix that a little bit in, up, and the lemon juice. So lemon juice, up to you. Up to you, a quarter of a lemon, something like that. And that helps because it's gonna help dilute. Now if it gets a little bit too thick, you can put it back on the double boiler a little bit just before serving, so it's a pouring consistency. But basically that's it. We've made a no-fuss Hollandaise, you see, with no fuss, no clarified butter, anything. So now I'm gonna use that and create a very simple egg Benedict. Let's go. All right, let's not waste any time. The egg Benedict, from its simple breakfast item, we've got here a brioche bun, laid with a generous portion of smoked salmon. You can do it with bacon, but I kind of prefer the smoked salmon, and a generous amount of that Hollandaise. Now keep in mind, this is the no-fuss Hollandaise. I'm gonna be pouring this over, and I want something nice and gooey and generous. A bit of color to finish, and that's about it. You're ready to go. The brioche bun at the bottom for me is very important because it keeps the softness of it all. So you can go through the whole layers. You get the smoked salmon, tender, smoky. You get the slightly burnt toast on there, and that beautiful, juicy Hollandaise with a bit of extra lemon if you want to go further. A bit of seasoning on here, a bit of salt, and bon appetit. We're good to go. Well, let's dig in. So for some people, the amount of sauce I've put in is totally over the top. But you know what? When I'm getting this into a cafe, I'm not here for the bread or whatever. You're here for the sauce. You want to have plenty of sauce because things can get dry. You see, I've got all that smoked salmon, and smoked salmon with Hollandaise is something that goes beautifully. So you can very easily cut through the whole thing. Look at these layers. You see that? So you have the layers of salmon, the layer of eggs, and smoked salmon and brioche goes very well together. But with some Hollandaise there, that's the bomb. The bomb, people. Wow. Now, honestly, for the amount of work we have, one pot Hollandaise for you. Is this good or is this good? Poached egg. Oh, it's a bit overcooked there. Oh, you know what? Oh, brioche with salmon and a Hollandaise sauce. There's something about it that is really good. Wow, now that was absolutely delicious. I kind of wonder, why am I not doing this all the time? Now let me be honest with you. If you've tried to make Hollandaise and failed, if you're scared, use that method because it works and it is really, really delicious with that combo. So let me know what you think in the comment section. If, by the way, you want to see that video separately as a separate post, just to have the technique also, tell me about it because I could post it separately. As for me, I will leave you with that picture, and I'll see you next time for our final episode. We're going to be tackling a modern version of the velouté that doesn't involve using a roux, and I'm also going to show you some easy derivatives you can use at home for meat, for fish and vegetables. So look forward to that, and I'll see you next time on the French Cooking Academy. Take care all, bye bye.
My appetite, don't leave me here.